Long after the creation of Marvel's Fantastic Four, but also well before the creation of Disney Pixar's The Incredibles, another superhero family was protecting the world from total domination by the forces of evil. They were featured in an animated series jam-packed with international creative all-stars, designers, actors, producers, and directors, toy companies with incredible historic portfolios. But despite the era of 80s revivalism that we're currently living in, it is a series, a toy line, a brand that today barely exists, even on this internet. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Bionic Six. Bionic Six was a 65-episode animated series that aired in 1987. It followed a familiar, well-proven strategy for marketing to children during the 80s. Pair a daily afternoon cartoon series with a line of action figures, each promoting the other in a symbiotic commercial relationship. The basic premise, as developed, is the $6 million Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman get married and have a family. Jack, codenamed Bionic One, and Helen, codenamed Mother One, lead their kids Eric, Meg, JD, and Bungie against Dr. Scarab and his minions, Glove, Madam O, Chopper, Mechanic, and Clunk. The Bennett family transforms into the Bionic Six thanks to miraculous technologies developed by Dr. Amadeus Sharp and boatloads of cash, specifically your tax dollars. Sharp's technologies are all technically developed through government research funding. It's all family fun now, but at some point that tech is going to get rolled into actual combat, and then we're one Skynet mishap away from everything going all Terminator. The Bionic Six are, first and foremost, a family. And while that is important from a storytelling perspective, it is also very important from a marketing perspective, and this is not an accident. Extensive testing and previous action figure branding rollouts have proven what kids connect to and how they develop emotional connections to the subject matter. It is very easy for viewers, or better yet, potential customers, to see themselves as any one of the children in the Bennett family. Eric, codenamed Sport One, is the sports guy. Meg, codenamed Rock One, is the music girl. Adopted son JD, codenamed IQ, is the smart one. Foster son Bungie, codenamed Karate One, is the karate one. And Fluffy is the giant robot gorilla. Each character has a bionic specialization, a power that every member of the team has to some extent, but that they can do even better. When all else fails, the Bionic Six can also combine their powers to accomplish things that none of them can do individually. It's a fun, safe, familiar, easily relatable role for kids, the customers, to act out power fantasies knowing that mom, dad, and a giant robot gorilla are still around to fix everything if things get out of hand. The animated series production team was industry veterans with impeccable credentials. Bionic Six was developed by Ron Friedman for MCA Television. Ron had television and movie writing credits that go back to the 1960s, including but not limited to Get Smart, Gilligan's Island, I Dream of Jeannie, Wonder Woman, Starsky and Hutch, and Fantasy Island. And then he hit his stride during the 80s with G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe the movie, and Transformers the movie. Yeah, he's the guy who killed Optimus Prime after Hasbro ordered the hit. MCA Television, now known as NBC Universal Television Distribution, was the distributor for Bionic Six, and, not coincidentally, they were also the distributor for the original Bionic Man and Bionic Woman TV series. It was their idea to develop a Bionic family from the beginning, but not necessarily tie it to the actual Bionic Man franchise directly. The supervising director for Bionic Six at the Japanese animation studio TMS Entertainment was Osamu Dezaki, who had television and movie credits that go back to the 1960s, including but not limited to Astro Boy, Lupin III, the original Frosty the Snowman, Guy King, Rainbow Bright, and the Mighty Orbots. His work, his style would influence generations of animators. Art director Bob Dranko worked on Super Friends, The Smurfs, Muppet Babies, Captain N, and Rude Dog and the Dweebs. Character designs came from Mike Vosberg, who also worked on G.I. Joe, Pirates of Dark Water, Captain Planet, Gem and Gargoyles. Alex freaking Toth and Gil freaking Kane worked on graphics. The voice cast included Frank Megatron Welker, Alan Skeletor Oppenheimer, Brian Tochi, who you should recognize as the voice of Leonardo from the first 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, and Neil Ross, who's been in just about every animated production since 1981. Bionic Six had one of the most memorable theme songs by design. Composers Thomas Chase and Steve Rucker also worked on Gummy Bears, The Real Ghostbusters, Pirates of Dark Water, Captain Planet, and lots of other stuff. And I have had that Bionic Six theme song stuck in my head for 30 years. Working on this video isn't helping it go away.
Invincible. Introducing the Bionic Six family, each implanted with bionic parts, giving them superhuman powers. Will the evil Dr. Scarab destroy the Bionic Six? The Bionic Six from LJN.
Bionic Six hit televisions in 1987, but the toy line produced by LJN was on store shelves beginning in 1986. LJN already had successful brands like Thundercats and WWF wrestling superstars long before Bionic Six arrived. For Bionic Six, LJN produced a single wave of 13 action figures accompanied by a full playset, a van, 2 small vehicles, and 2 laser interactive flying chairs, since that kind of thing was really big at the time. Laser interactivity, not flying chairs. The action figures were part die-cast metal, part translucent, a design choice that set them apart from everything else that was on the shelves at the time. And there were a lot of other choices on the shelves at the time. 1986 was the heart of the 80s action figure boom. At any given location that sold toys, a customer could find upwards of 20 different brands to choose from, including but not limited to Star Wars, He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, GoBots, Superpowers, Secret Wars, Sectars, Jason the Wheeled Warriors, Thundercats, Muscle, Battle Beasts, Inhumanoids, Centurions, Bravestar, Mask, not to mention interactive play games like Laser Tag and Photon, and the real action figure industry killer, the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was a crowded, heavily competitive market that left no room for error, no room for delay, no room for the slightest overlooked component of a marketing campaign. If there was any facet neglected, a brand, even one with so much talent and experience behind it, would easily be lost in the shuffle with no hope of regaining visibility. And for Bionic Six, there was practically nothing else. No video game, no Marvel Comics. There was a single Bionic Six super picture book published by Grosset and Dunlap featuring pictures of the Bionic Six and all the bad guys. There was a Ben Cooper brand Bionic One Halloween costume, and that's it. That's all this internet has any record of. The entire internet. I'm here right now, I checked. Was Bionic Six a failure? With so much talent and experience involved, with no discernible legacy over 30 years later, it's hard to call it a success. Bionic Six has never even been officially released on DVD. It's hard to point to any one thing that prevented it from being in the same category as Transformers, G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, and the other heavy hitters of the 80s. There are a variety of potential factors, including, but not limited to, too much competition on the shelves and on TV, the lack of a comprehensive multimedia rollout that usually accompanied toy-themed brands, a rapidly growing video game industry led by the Nintendo Entertainment System. But if we're looking for a true smoking gun, the evidence may point to a self-inflicted blast from a water cannon. MCA purchased LJN toys in 1985 after Thundercats and WWF arrived, but prior to the release of Bionic Six. That same year, an LJN brand of realistic motorized water guns called Entertech hit toy shelves, and while they initially boosted sales, they quickly became a public relations nightmare after cops were accidentally shooting kids and criminals were intentionally using the guns for felonious purposes. For more on the controversy surrounding that story, check out our History of Entertech video. The short version is that sales of realistic toy guns were banned and MCA was dealing with litigation for their role in all of it. They wanted out of the toy business as quickly as possible and sold off LJN in 1988, leaving all the legal problems behind them. Sometimes brands can help bring each other to the top. In this case, it's likely that Bionic Six was a victim of circumstance, caught in a whirlwind of corporate maneuvers and neglected marketing support. An unfortunate fate for a show with so much potential, a universally positive message, and one of the most unforgettable theme songs ever. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. Make sure you hit the notifications bell icon to be immediately notified every time we post a new video. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Please share this video and let us know in the comments down below, based on your personality, what would your Bionic codename be? Greg would obviously be Producer One, which sounds really cool. I would be Action One. And I don't think anyone needs to know that it's short for action figures, because that's not as cool.